So there are conversations that we can have about the various things that Frank Seravalli has said recently about the Vancouver Canucks. Of course, we know Frank. He used to work at TSN, and then he was at Daily Faceoff, and now he's got his own show, Frankly Hockey, which you can go out there and watch, I believe, for free. Yeah, we're giving plugs to Frank Seravalli because everybody kind of knows who he is. But this is what he had said lately on his show about Vancouver Canucks superstar Elias Pettersson, and I wanted to respond to this, just get into the details as to why it is he might feel this way, and just give my thoughts about it too. Take a look at what Frank Seravalli said yesterday on Frankly Hockey regarding Elias Pettersson. Change of scenery? No one's going to take him on. What you're talking about is a buyout next year. Obviously, that's a long ways off. I think you're stuck in the meantime. You pray that he somehow finds some confidence. And that is a pretty bold take on a guy that I think a lot of Canucks fans would not necessarily agree is in buyout territory in regards to how he's played so far. You know, it's kind of funny because the Elias Pettersson story from last year to this year, it was always, oh, he needs to be better. What's wrong with this guy? He needs to improve. But then once we started getting some reasons as to why he wasn't better, it started to make a lot more sense. Oh, the guy had tendinitis. Oh, the guy was getting bullied by Miller. Oh, this, oh, that. Well, now he doesn't have those excuses, so he's got to go out there and play, right? And for the most part, if you've been watching the Vancouver Canucks, you could probably conclude that, yeah, Petey has been looking better. He is playing better. He is better than what he has shown off in the previous year, and it's just a matter of Adam Foote not giving Petey the right minutes to be able to showcase his skills, and there was an answer that Foote gave earlier today ahead of the Canucks game versus the Predators in regards to why Foote wasn't playing Petey as much. Essentially, it boiled down to Petey getting a lot of special teams minutes and the Canucks being down so much towards the end of the game, and the fact that the Canucks had already played so many games in so many days. Foote was more so not wanting to push Pettersson too hard to the point that it's maybe damaging to his physical, which I get in theory, but I don't know, it doesn't really float my boat. I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, well, Pettersson is supposed to be a top-tier superstar on the team. You pay guys lots of money to be able to play those minutes, but if Adam Foote is seeing something that we don't, then hey, he's the coach, he's going to do what he wants. We'll see what happens later today when the Canucks play off against the Predators. Brock Boeser is back, by the way, so that is going to add some much-needed winger support to this Canucks lineup. But for Elias Pettersson and Frank Seravalli, I mean, the response to this tweet has been nothing short of spectacular. Because you have so many Vancouver Canucks-related insiders and Twitter accounts going out there and responding to Seravalli saying, wow, like, it's ridiculous how much Frank dunks on this guy whenever he's speaking on the radio or on TV. He's saying that nobody would want to get Petey in a trade? The guy needs a buyout? Adam Kierszenblat said, I don't know what Pettersson did to Frank, but this level of anger towards a player is wild. Jez said this, I'm becoming increasingly confident that Petey has dunked on Frank at some point, because I've never seen an out-of-market media member have such an axe to grind with a player like this. His hate-on is absolutely pathetic. Now, there actually were other analysts like Craig Button who went out there and spoke out about the idea of an Elias Pettersson buyout, and that was a lot more of a kind of doomsday scenario conversation, not necessarily like, oh, Vancouver should buy him out now because he's not good now and this is all he's worth, etc., etc. Frank Seravalli's going out there and saying, yeah, no change of scenery here. Nobody's going to take him. You got to buy that guy out. At least for Button, there was a lot more buffer room for Petey to show everybody that he's still got what he's got and he's as good as he could be, which at this point, you know, I don't know if I'm really able to accept the idea that Elias Pettersson can become a 100-point player again. At the very least, I think he can be a point-per-game superstar, but the fact that a lot of his development the past few years has focused more so on two-way deployment and defensive off-puck skills rather than flourishing offensively in the ways that we saw him previously in his career, like, I don't know, I'm honestly skeptical that Elias Pettersson will ever become a 100-point player ever again. It's just the way things have gone and how he's looking as of late. Yes, he's looking good. Yes, he is starting to bring back some of that skill. Yes, Frank Seravalli isn't watching the games if he thinks that Pettersson is buyout worthy at this point. But can Petey get back to that 100-point metric? I think that's a really big staple for a lot of Canucks fans that want to see this guy come out here and improve in the ways that he could. I'm starting to think that maybe that 100-point season was the anomaly season, even though he was young, even though he was not in his prime just yet. I mean, he was very ripe as a hockey player at that time, and he had the best situation, you know? Bruce Boudreau allowed him to play run-and-gun offensive hockey, and he was playing with Andrei Kuzmenko, whom he meshed with very well, and the power play was looking good with Bo Horvat on that bumper spot. It was a different version of the Vancouver Canucks compared to what exists today. And with Adam Foote's system and Rick Tocchet's system being put into place the past 2 seasons, I kind of wonder, was Pettersson always doomed to fail and not be able to produce those 100 points like he did under Bruce Boudreau? I don't know, it's just kind of food for thought, but ultimately, if he goes out there and gets himself like 3 or 4 assists later today against the Nashville Predators, I think it'll be a lot easier for us to start believing that Pettersson is back. Maybe not once and for all, but he's got to be able to string together positive results over the next few weeks here. Like, I think it takes a lot for reputations on players to change. Look at Marty Necas, for example, in Carolina. That guy is starting to finally be labeled as the top-tier superstar that he is, even though he was producing like crazy last year for the Hurricanes. A lot of people were wondering, oh, is this a flash-in-the-pan year? Is this guy really that talented? Is he going to be able to do this on another team? Well, guess what? Now he's in Colorado, he's playing with McKinnon, and he is doing it again. He's even better than he was last year. So now we're starting to see that reputation change for a guy like Necas. For Elias Pettersson, it's going to take at least another year or 2 of him playing very well to start to get people believing in this guy again, especially the folks out of market like Frank Seravalli, who are saying that this guy should get bought out at this point, which is just so ridiculous because he's been playing well, and it seems like every time Frank talks about this guy on any show, the radio, TV, his own Frankly Hockey, he's always got something negative to say about EP40. It's quite ridiculous. So with all this in mind, we've got Nashville later today. We are going to watch the Vancouver Canucks and the Predators, and I'll try to go out there and make a post-game video. I'm still sick. I still have COVID, so obviously my voice isn't that pristine as it normally is. So I apologize for the lack of general enthusiasm in this video commentary. But either way, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Elias Pettersson and Frank Seravalli suggesting that the guy should get bought out? Suggesting that no team in the NHL would take him on in a trade. That is just so ridiculous, man, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button is there for you as well. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.